What is the SACP's position on the outcome of the motion of no confidence in President Zuma? Is it constitutional to discipline ANC MPs who supported opposition parties in their bids to remove President Zuma from office? And how is jockeying for the presidential position impacting unity within the tripartite alliance? And what's the SACP's view on Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma's rejection in Marikana? What time is it? It's question time. Khoza and welcome to the show. My name is Makhosi Khoza. It is now 2 weeks since Parliament held the motion of no confidence in President Jacob Zuma, mainly pushed by opposition parties. It resulted in some ANC members of Parliament voting in support of the move. A vocal ANC MP Dr. Makhosi Khoza is set to face disciplinary action by the ANC in KZN after she openly said she would vote in support of the motion against President Zuma. Former Tourism Minister Derek Hanekom has been given 10 days to state why he should not be removed as the head of the party's disciplinary committee. For its part, the SACP has blamed the ANC for what it calls a misleading and confusing statement on the motion of no confidence by saying the motion was an attempt to unseat the ANC. Meanwhile, the SACP has again called for an inquest into the assassination of its late stalwart Chris Hani. This after the Supreme Court of Appeal overturned a High Court decision last year that sought to grant Hani's killer Janusz Walus parole. We are live and therefore you can call us and air your views. The numbers to dial is 089-110-4210. If you're outside the borders, +2789-110-4210. Our Twitter handle at QuestionTime24. My guest today is Solima Paila, the first Deputy General Secretary of the South African Communist Party, and he joins us right now in studio. Soli, thank you very much for talking to us. We really appreciate you making time whenever we so wish to engage with you.
Thank you. Breaking
news. Mama Zuma tried to go to Marikana and the Secretary General of the ANC always says the crowd was warm where I was, but where she was, the crowd wasn't warm at all. What's the SACP's reaction there?
Well, I think it's unfortunate. I think ideally we should remain sensitive to the views of the people, particularly in an area like Marikana where lots of lives were lost. The area remains sensitive, and I think that given the inability or the slow response of government to the problems that were raised there, including after the commission, it's therefore important that political leaders should remain sensitive when they deal with that particular community. At the same time, we also know that opposition parties have created an impression that that now becomes their stronghold, and they're using that as a no-go area for the ANC. But ideally, it should be almost for all political parties, not necessarily that it should be a no-go area for all political parties, but that we should remain sensitive to that particular community, because the community that is still in mourning, many people lost their loved ones. So we think all the time when leaders want to go there, there should be appropriate discussions with the local leadership of the community there to make appropriate arrangements.
Was the Communist Party involved in this visit by the ANC NEC member?
No, we're not involved. You will know that we're the first political party actually to go to Marikana after the incident. We had 2 meetings there, including the Marikana Hall itself. And at the time, we made appropriate contacts with the community to arrive there and talk to them. At the time, you'll know that the situation was quite still tense, but we still managed to go there, but with appropriate arrangements. I think what's important is there is to make appropriate and not to impose yourself and your presence there, whether you are from whatever political organization and stuff.
Okay. Jan, you are in Hammanskraal. Welcome.
How are you, Mbo?
I'm very well. Thanks for the call.
You know what Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma was trying to do actually?
Oh, okay.
He was trying to stick because they refused Cyril Ramaphosa to be in Marikana. So she thought she was going to be credited that privilege of being there. It's unfortunate And I would like to comment to Mr. Mapaila to say, let the SACP be a biting dog, not a barking dog to the ANC. They must resign as ministers within the ANC to show that they are against the president who is corrupt.
Okay. All right, thanks very much there from Haman Skral there. Well, making 2 points, and I would want us to get into the other one, which we have spoken about in the past, that indeed, some analysts are saying, well, Nkosazana is taking chances. She thought she would go there and upstage Cyril Ramaphosa and therefore get some credit that she is more accepted in Marikana than the deputy president. Well, that's political analysis. I'm not so sure if you would want to get into that space.
Well, she can explain that herself, but I think what I do know is the fact that Deputy President Ramaphosa has indicated his willingness to go there and to arrange an appropriate time to go there. He has expressed his regret on what could be considered to be his intervention in the process, and therefore that he ultimately did not go is commendable, because he understood the fact, the level of anger of the people there, and that you don't impose yourself on a people, particularly if they feel you are on the wrong. And it doesn't necessarily mean that he did something wrong per se in this case, but that's the feeling of that particular community. An appropriate arrangement should still be made for him to go and discuss with them. But at the same time, government has to respond to what has happened there. And I think it's unfortunate that after so many years, there's been no appropriate response by government after the commission. So that our commissions should actually be understood to resolve problems rather than to perpetuate ill feelings against government or the problems that have existed before they were initiated.
Well, people are saying, but Communist Party, why don't you just pull out of this ANC? We hear you, you are talking sense, but detach.
No, it's something like this. We're in alliance with the ANC. We're not necessarily, we're part and parcel of the ANC, but we're also outside. I think that's how it must be understood. So it's a dialectical issue. We're in and out at the same time. So in many instances, our inside, when we're inside the ANC, we subject ourselves to the collective discipline of the ANC. When we're outside, we're independent of formation. So even when we're inside the ANC, we still participate as communists. That is our ideological outlook becomes. It's like if you are a Christian in the ANC, you don't cease to be a Christian because you are in the ANC. You still propagate your own views, your own religion, but within the framework of the ANC. So that's how we relate with the ANC. We're in an alliance with the ANC. In a way, we're independent and outside of the ANC, but also part and parcel, or one may put it like they are communists in the ANC, there's no ANC in the Communist Party. Maybe that's a little bit better.
Okay. Felix, you are in Mpumalanga.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Mpu, for taking my call.
You're welcome.
Oh, yes. I think we must all commend SACP for their courage to be able to speak truth in the face of this insanity that is going on.
Yes.
I just wanted us to remember that the only good is the good of the whole. Now, Jacob Zuma is busy destroying the good of the whole, and people are quiet. People are so scared to talk. They equate Jacob Zuma to ANC. And that is why we should commend SACP for what they are saying and for what they are doing. Okay. I don't belong to any political party, I must let you know. Because the only political party I can belong to is for humanity. And I'm for the good of the whole. I can never be for the good of any particular person. And that is why we should all come together. It doesn't matter who you are, to chase away Jacob Zuma. He has destroyed our dignity. He has turned us into nothing that we never dreamed we could be. Okay. And I commend SACP for what they are doing.
Felix, thank you very much for that call. But people are paying the price for that motion of no confidence, secret as it was.
It's unfortunate. In fact, it's a real issue that we ended up issuing a statement to this effect and also differed with the response of the ANC because we think it's a witch hunt. And in any case, if it's done by a movement like the ANC, which uphold the constitution, because we fought for a constitutional order, or we fought for democracy in which we entrench a constitutional order. We should respect that. And that motion, which was done in secret, means that we can't violate the secretness. That is, if we do, we'll effectively be violating the constitution itself and our electoral law. So therefore, it's important for the ANC to deeply reflect on that. But I think it's also important to note that this was just a proxy battle. The main battle, it's outside Parliament, where the ANC has dismally failed to hold President Zuma to account, who's the main protagonist, the main belligerent force that is causing divisions inside the movement. In fact, it's the leader of the faction that is causing divisions in the movement and in the entire alliance. And therefore, his capacity perhaps to hold the patronage purse to make sure that people in the NEC, despite obvious reasons, can't call in for him to account and to actually step aside, but they can all, as the NWC, go out and say members who would have exercised and a constitutional right to vote secretly must face disciplinary action. It's quite unthinkable. It's just an ANC, but of course it's taken by a structure of the ANC. But that's where we think that the violation of the value system of the ANC, it's now on trial, and the ANC leadership must appreciate that.
Let's take a quick break. When we return, we talk about this Chris Hani matter. As you know, that the SACP is now demanding that an inquest be held to look into the death of Chris Hani. As you may have also realized, that Ahmed Timol's inquest is bringing out things which are really sad to know, but the truth which indeed the world deserves to know. 089-110-4210 is the number to dial. We shall return.
It takes patience and the finest ingredients to craft a milk stout of superior quality that is made to be savored by the most refined palate. Castle Milk Stout. Savor your richness.
This distinguished CEO would say the best way to enjoy a brandy is whilst wearing diamond-encrusted lamb's wool socks, accompanied by
the smell of fresh money.
Woo! Really? Sock diamonds? Well, we'd say a brandy enjoyed with last night's pizza works just as well. Tops at Spa. Good brandy, good advice, no blingy socks.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. My guest today is Sodi Mopala. He's the first Deputy General Secretary of the SACP, and we're talking matters around the SACP. But before we go into our second segment, let's rather take a look at what Makhosi Khoza had to say.
What makes me probably speak out, it's because I have seen how corruption, the politics of patronage, is eating up the party. As we speak, we no longer control the executive capital, which is Swane. We no longer control the legislative capital, which is Cape Town. And we no longer control the economic hub, which is Johannesburg. And to me, I've got to do my part to save the pasty that I so love. But if they feel that constitute ill discipline, hard luck for them.
Well, yeah, you are going to go through a DC for saying such things. That's the ANC of today. And the funny thing, Soli, is that it would appear those who seem to talk a lot of sense pay this price, but others, no, you can say as you wish, and there won't be anything there won't be any results, you know. And I can give you an example. Bekicele may be held. This is the current scenario in the ANC. He may be held before some structure for saying the things that he said. But Nomvula Mkonyane, for instance, nothing will happen to her.
Yeah, I think it's more or less like that, where there's selective discipline of members. And I think that's why we've said, if people believe that someone has brought the ANC into disrepute, that person, and the number one person, is President Zuma. He's the one that should have faced more charges inside the ANC. He violates ANC policies all the time, including, for instance, this debate around the leadership. He was amongst the first officials to come out and violate it. And he's never called to order. When all others violate it, what is the NEC saying? Instead, they try to kowtow to his violation, try and justify this and that. So it's selective discipline. I think that it's important that the ANC NEC must act within the realm of the Constitution and apply discipline across the board without fear or favor and irrespective of the position that you hold in the office. And I think at the moment you can see that there's a grouping of individuals that are specialists on violating ANC Code of Ethics, and they are protected all the time, including President Zuma and some of cabinet members. And for instance, Msebenzi Zwane was not even disciplined in government.
Yes.
They continue to do all wrong things. Nothing happens to them. But that's when the organization is losing its own integrity and its collectiveness.
Mishak, I'm sorry. You've been holding on for quite some time. Please go ahead.
How are you there? And good evening to Mr. Sulimapela also there.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mpo, quickly, I just want to ask Mr. Sulimapela.
Yes.
Because he's been so vocal all along.
Yes.
The SACP, they've made it very clear that they don't want President Zuma at all because he's so corrupt. And he cannot take the party forward, of which they are of ANC, because 3 of them are the tripartite alliances to ANC.
Yes.
Now I want to ask Mr. Sulimapela, why the ministers from SACP, they didn't vote in favor of secret ballot. Instead, they choose to support Zuma, because the secret ballot, it was clear. It wasn't saying they want to vote ANC out. It was said they want to vote Zuma out of the parliament. Now, there's a contradiction in between these 2 statements, because SACP, you are misleading us. On one hand, you are saying you don't want Zuma. On the other hand, you vote in support of Zuma. Now, it means also you, some of your ministers, who are representing SACP at the parliament, are also corrupt. You are incorrupt with the ANC. So if Zuma says jump, you don't know. You don't ask how high. You simply jump. So if you go back to SACP NEC, just be straight. Tell those guys that you must make another means to take Zuma out before December conference.
Okay, thanks very much, Mishak.
I think it's important to clarify that we are not fighting against the ANC, and we are not also saying that the ANC is corrupt. What we are fighting against is the fact that President Zuma, we have lost trust in him because he has surrounded himself with corrupt individuals. His own son is doing trade with the state, huge tenders with the state and the Guptas, and there's enough evidence, even for prosecutability, around those people. And therefore, we feel that he cannot be at the helm of the Republic of South Africa until these matters have been addressed. So that's one area. That's why we felt that in order to protect the image and integrity of the ANC, he should be removed. And therefore, when it comes to the motion in Parliament, it's also important, as I indicated, this question of the alliance. In Parliament, we are governed by the authority of the African National Congress. Our member, we don't have MPs as the Communist Party. We only have ANC MPs. So therefore, our members are governed by the collective decisions of the ANC, but they should have, and they would have, and I know that, they would have debated these issues inside the ANC. What has been the major failure is the collective leadership, both of the ANC, NEC, and of the alliance, to have allowed this matter to be taken to Parliament when we could have resolved it politically and removed President Zuma. The matter would not have arisen in this form that it has.
Baba, I think is in... Oh, is it Umtungwa? Mtungwa. Baba Mtungwa. Awu bakithi, awu Mtungwa ngiyacela bandla awuphinde usishayela ucingo usibone ukuthi uPaula uthini ke lapho Mtungwa Protea. 0891104210 is the number to dial. Mataboge Jacob says Mapaila is totally wrong when he says opposition parties make Marikana a no-go area. That's totally nonsensical. Okay, Mweketsi Mukhase NDZ's visit to Marikana should not be affected by the decisional consequences that was taken by greedy steer boy of white monopoly capital. Okay. Mudaveni Mpo, the ANC will be humbled in the recent future. I feel so ashamed to call myself an ANC cadre. Prince, you are in Emelo. Welcome.
Yes, Mpo, good evening there to you there.
Yes, welcome to the show.
Yes, and Mr. Soli as well.
Yes,
Mr. Soli, don't you think the condition or the situation right now is not conducive for you to be in alliance with the ANC? Because I can make an example. If we happen to be in a ship, a sinking ship, you guys are on board, which the ship is driven by the ANC. Why are you waiting for the last submerge of the ship, only relying on your life jacket to say, on the last image of the ship, you will jump out? I think it's about time now that you guys start walking away from ANC. Because it's clearly ANC, even the captain himself, being Zuma, he doesn't have a compass and he doesn't have a map. And he's wishing to land on shore.
Okay.
So, I think it's about time.
All right. Thanks very much, Prince. Let's hear what the life jackets are saying here.
No, I fully agree with him that partly that we're right in the middle of the sea and the ship is in crisis. But we know that it's the captain of the ship that is not driving it well. That's why, ideally, we should capture that captain of the ship and put a new captain of the ship to proceed with the trip.
Okay. Now, the inquest. Let's talk about this. Some are saying, SACP, you are not a forgiving organization. Why don't you let this Chris Hani matter, be as it is?
On the contrary, we are the most humanist and the most forgiving as the SACP. The issue here with regard to Janusz Walus is that he's the one that keeps himself in jail. It's not us. He can be forgiven and be released from jail if he speaks the truth and if we consult the family and embark on a victim-offender dialogue so that that process is concluded. He's not interested in that. In fact, his accomplice, when he died, even did a private video with the authority that he should be given when he has passed on, Clive W. Lewis, in which he reaffirmed his hatred for communists. So if this one can actually even express those words and express appropriate forgiveness to the family, why should we forgive him? So he speaks the truth. If he becomes remorseful, then we can consider that matter. And the family, surely they will consider that particular matter. To that extent, because he's not telling the truth, we felt that it might be important for us. We've actually approached our legal team and to collate information so that we can put an appropriate case before the NPA to reopen the inquest on the death of Comrade Chris Hani, so that an appropriate investigation could then be done, because we know the two did not act alone. They acted with other players, and therefore we can find evidence and pursue that particular evidence. But we have also noted the fact that after the Ahmed Timol inquest, that the TRC had left about 504 cases which were for further investigation of anti-apartheid and freedom fighters activists who we do not know and their families do not know what happened to them. And what we think it's in that broad realm as well that such cases should be considered and government should make appropriate resources available so that the families can also find appropriate closure.
We have run out of time, but I would have wanted to hear your position on the Grace Mugabe issue, what the Communist Party's views were there. Are you able to just tell us briefly?
Well, I think it was inappropriate action what she did. I mean, this was appropriate misconduct by the First Lady of Zimbabwe.
Okay. Appropriate action on the part of South African government?
Not really.
Okay, not really. Well, thank you very much. That was question time for today. And as we end our show today, we pay tribute to Utazola Ntutu, who was a colleague of ours, a journalist, reporter, one of our own. And he passed on. We say, may his soul rest in peace, Utazola, and our condolences to his family as well, and to other colleagues who are working with him. From me and the entire crew, I'm Makhosi Khoza.